Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. We've officially reached 100 subscribers, and that honestly means a lot to me. It might not seem like a huge number, but if you picture 100 people gathered in one place showing support, that's pretty incredible. Your support truly keeps me motivated, inspired, and excited to keep creating more videos for you all. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for helping this channel grow. Alright, enough talk. Let's dive into today's video. To the West, he was the Red Sultan, but to the Muslims, he was the last guardian of a dying empire, the Caliph of millions, who stood alone against the world's greatest powers, and refused to sell even an inch of Palestine. This is the story of Sultan Abdulhamid II, the last shield of Islam, and the man who defied an empire's fate. Born in 1842, Prince Abdulhamid was the son of Sultan Abdulmajid, heir to a crumbling empire. In 1876, at the age of 34, he ascended the throne after his brother Murad was deposed. But this was no ordinary inheritance. The empire he received was on the brink of collapse. The treasury was empty, controlled by European powers through the Ottoman Public Debt Administration. Nationalist uprisings tore through the Balkans, Serbia, Bulgaria, Greece, while Russia's ambitions for warm water ports loomed like a storm on the horizon. Becoming sultan at this time, Abdulhamid later said, was like holding fire in your hand. The first major test of Sultan Abdulhamid's reign came with the Russo-Turkish War of 1877–78. Russian armies advanced relentlessly, and for the first time in centuries, Istanbul itself trembled under the shadow of war. By March 1878, the young sultan was forced to sign the humiliating Treaty of San Stefano. The losses were catastrophic. One-third of the empire's European territories vanished. Serbia, Montenegro, and Romania gained independence. Bulgaria became semi-autonomous, while Bosnia fell under Austro-Hungarian control. Britain seized Cyprus, claiming to protect it. From this devastating defeat, Abdulhamid drew two critical lessons. Western powers were not allies, only self-interested opportunists, and the empire could survive only if it was strengthened from within. In 1878, facing a fractured empire, Sultan Abdulhamid made a bold move. He suspended the constitution and dissolved parliament. As he declared, a sinking ship cannot be saved by a committee, but by a captain. Under his firm rule, he launched sweeping modernization projects. The Hejaz Railway from Damascus to Medina, funded by Muslim donations worldwide, stood as a symbol of Pan-Islamic unity. Telegraph lines, modern infrastructure, and the Berlin-Baghdad Railway with German help strengthened the empire's backbone. But his greatest power wasn't steel or stone, it was faith. As caliph, he rallied Muslims from India to North Africa under a single cause, reminding the West that the Ottoman Empire was the guardian of Islam. Through sharp diplomacy, he played Britain, Russia, France, and Germany against one another, the Iron Sultan, holding a crumbling empire together through strategy and will. Despite his tireless efforts to preserve the Ottoman Empire, Sultan Abdulhamid faced a storm of internal unrest. Nationalist movements, fueled by foreign influence, shook the empire's fragile stability. The Armenian uprisings led to violent clashes, and in 1905, an assassination attempt nearly claimed his life. To protect the state, Abdulhamid ruled with an iron hand, centralizing power and tightening internal security. Western powers branded him the Red Sultan, but he stood firm. I am the protector of my nation and Islam. History will be my judge. Ironically, his vision for modernization became his undoing. He sent young Ottomans to Europe to learn science and governance, but many returned with revolutionary ideals. These students, inspired by Western liberalism, became the Young Turks, accusing the Sultan of tyranny and stagnation. The very generation he educated to strengthen the empire would rise against him, setting the stage for his eventual downfall. Between 1896 and 1902, Theodor Herzl, founder of the Zionist movement, approached Sultan Abdulhamid with a bold proposal. In exchange for settling Jewish immigrants in Palestine and establishing a national home, the movement would pay off the Ottoman Empire's crippling debts and improve the Sultan's global image. But Abdulhamid, the last guardian of the Ottoman Empire and the Caliph of the Muslims, stood firm. In his own words, I cannot sell even an inch of my empire. Palestine belongs to my nation. For decades, he safeguarded Jerusalem and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, recognizing that Palestine was not just land, but a sacred trust of the Muslim Ummah. His refusal was not only a political decision, it was a declaration of moral courage, an uncompromising stand against foreign pressure, and a defense of the Islamic world. Through this act, Abdulhamid demonstrated that leadership is measured not by wealth or expedience, but by conviction and responsibility. Even the wealthiest offers could not sway the last guardian of the empire, for he placed duty above personal gain and prestige. In 1908, the Young Turks restored the 1876 constitution, limiting the power of Sultan Abdulhamid II, the last guardian of the Ottoman Empire. A ruler who had preserved the empire through decades of crises now faced challenges from within. By April 27, 1909, the Action Army marched into Istanbul. The Sultan, confronted with the inevitability of deposition, did not resist bloodshed, saying, "I have run the empire for 33 years, you won't run it for 33 days." Under the new regime, the empire's stability crumbled. In 1911, Italy seized Libya, the empire's last African province. In 1912, the Balkan Wars erupted, and within weeks, Serbia, Bulgaria, Greece, and Montenegro stripped away almost all of the Ottoman Empire's European territories. Then came the First World War, 1914 to 1918. The inexperienced government plunged the empire into a global conflict, and Ottoman forces were overwhelmed on multiple fronts. Baghdad, Jerusalem, and vast regions of Anatolia fell under Allied control. Centuries of administration, culture, and sovereignty began to unravel. Abdulhamid II had spent decades defending his people, uniting the Islamic world, and strategically balancing the great powers. He had safeguarded Jerusalem, prevented foreign occupation of vital lands, and maintained internal order under unimaginable pressures. Yet, the removal of the empire's most steadfast guardian accelerated its collapse. Even in his house arrest, Abdulhamid remained dignified, a silent witness to the unraveling of the empire he had struggled so fiercely to preserve. His strategic foresight had delayed the empire's disintegration for decades, but once removed, the legacy of his absence was felt immediately, a cautionary tale of how removing a capable leader in times of crisis can hasten catastrophe. For 33 years, Sultan Abdulhamid II stood as the shield of a dying empire. He modernized infrastructure, strengthened the military, and united Muslims across continents under his caliphate. His rule, often labeled harsh by the West, was driven by necessity, to keep a fractured empire alive. Through diplomacy, he balanced Europe's powers. Through faith, he safeguarded Jerusalem and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. After his fall in 1909 and death in 1918, the empire quickly crumbled, the Balkans lost, World War I shattered its remains, and by 1924, the Caliphate was gone. The last guardian had fallen. But his legacy endures, a man of vision, defiance, and unyielding will. Sultan Abdulhamid II, the final shield of Islam, and the last captain of a sinking empire. Now, the question is in your hands. Was Sultan Abdulhamid II a hero, the last guardian of the Ottoman Empire and protector of Islam? Or was he a tyrant, whose iron grip delayed the inevitable? We want to hear your thoughts. Comment below and let us know, hero or villain.